Hi, Baba here. Today I'm going to explain a horror adventure movie called Jeepers Creepers. Spoilers ahead. Watch out and take care. The movie begins with young boys, who were roaming in the forest on their motorcycles. Suddenly they saw an old truck on the way. They slowly moved towards the truck, but they did not know how big a danger was hidden in this truck. This truck belonged to America's most dangerous monster, whose name is Creeper. Anyway, the boys started quarreling without any reason. A boy named Luke picked up a stone and threw it at the glass of the truck. But this dangerous truck did not have any ordinary glass. Rather, the stone hit the glass and came back on Luke's head. On the other hand, a boy named Kirk opened the back door of the truck while investigating, and everyone was shocked as soon as they looked inside. There was a white bag inside, which clearly indicated that there was a dead body of a human inside. Kirk went ahead to see it, but he smelled a strong odor, and as soon as he stepped back, the door of the truck suddenly closed very fast. Seeing this, all of them got very scared and immediately fled on their motorcycles. Then suddenly, a rope with a sharp knife on the end came out from the back of the truck and it went straight into Kirk's leg. Luckily, his friends did not leave him and supported him with their shoulders and made him stand. Then they tried to call someone for help, but there was no signal in the forest. They tried to remove the knife from Kirk's leg with their hands, but it was stuck very deep. But the worst happened when the rope started pulling Kirk back on its own. The three friends did not understand what to do. Then the person on the red motorcycle ran away, but the other two friends were still with Kirk. In a few moments, Kirk came to the truck pulling him back. Kirk was extremely scared and asked his friends to find help from somewhere. As soon as one of his friends pulled out his phone, suddenly a sound came from above and a corpse fell from the sky to the ground. Before they could say or do anything, a huge monster flapped its wings and stood on the roof of the truck. Seeing him, the other two friends also ran away in panic. Meanwhile, Creeper came down to the ground and opened the back door of the truck. Then he raised his hand and suddenly a spear came in his hand. Creeper aimed at the fleeing boys and in one shot the spear went through the bodies of both of them. After groaning in pain for a while, they died. After this, Creeper took out his spear and put it back in the truck and started preparing to find his next victim. But then, suddenly he smelled a strong scent, which made him understand that there was another person nearby. This was Kirk's fourth friend who had already escaped. Creeper tracked him down with his sense of smell and killed him too. Then we came to know that this Creeper wakes up every 23 years and hunts humans as a savage beast for 23 days. Well, after some time the police found the Creeper's truck. They opened the back door. There they found many dead bodies. There were rotten bodies and skeletons of so many people lying in this dilapidated truck, seeing which the blood of the officers froze. Then an officer put his hand inside for further investigation and suddenly the same clamp moved forward rapidly, due to which the officer's arm got cut. No one had thought that so many traps would be hidden in this old truck. Because of this grip, they could not even take out the bodies, and Sheriff David was very disappointed to see all this. At the same time, more police vehicles came there, and then we came to know that the government had formed a special squad to catch this Creeper, and the leader of this team was Captain Dan. Here Dan and David were discussing about the case and the rest of the officers were busy opening the door of the truck. Then suddenly, a rope with a knife attacked from the truck, due to which the witch narrowly escaped death. Everyone got very scared after seeing this horrifying scene, and now no one had the courage to go near that truck. Then after a while, David took Dan alone and told him that the Creeper has killed 3 officers and many common people so far. Then some officers informed him that the Creeper's truck has been towed. Hearing this, Dan was filled with anger because he knew that the Creeper would get his truck back at any cost. This meant that the life of the tow truck driver was in danger. They immediately talked to Officer Dana and tow truck driver Frank, but by then, Creeper had reached the truck with his axe. He broke the chains in one stroke. So Frank suddenly stopped his truck. They saw that Creeper's truck had left and gone back. Dan and Frank went closer and saw that Creeper was standing on top of the truck and staring at them. Then they realized that this truck could run on its own without any driver. Now Creeper had found his truck, so he went away laughing without harming them. Dana and Frank thought that their lives were saved, but in a few moments, they saw that Creeper's truck had returned. At this time Frank was extremely scared, and now the truck stopped after coming a little distance. But Creeper was nowhere to be seen. Dana and Frank looked around and suddenly Creeper jumped out of the air on Frank. Dana immediately pointed her gun at him, but the Creeper looked at her and gestured, which made her understand that this gun would not harm the Creeper. Now the Creeper blew Frank away in front of her eyes, and the poor woman could do nothing except standing quietly. Soon Dan and David reached there and they saw that Dana was sitting in the driver's seat. After this, the next morning we see that a crow had come and sat on the door of a house, and then an old woman came out of the house and started looking at the tree. Then a person called her with a hand gesture. The name of this woman was Gillen, and she was very sad to see this person. Actually, this was not a person, but the soul of her dead son Kenny. Actually, 23 years ago, when the creeper came, Kenny saw the creeper kidnapping a man. Kenny immediately came out of his car and started searching for him. Then suddenly a severed hand fell in front of him from the sky. It was none other than Creeper's hand, and it was still moving even after being cut. Now Kenny picked it up and brought it home and buried that hand under the tree in front of the house. Now after 23 years, Creeper had returned again, and Kenny knew that he would definitely come to take his cut hand. Kenny's spirit told his mother to leave the city with her niece Addison, otherwise they would be Creeper's next victim. Well, the next day Addison went to the shop to get fodder for her horse. But she already had a lot of dead left, so the shopkeeper refused to give her fodder. Now Addison started going back home disappointed. Then the shopkeeper's son Buddy felt pity for her. Buddy had liked Addison for a long time, so he decided to help Edison himself. He brought a lot of fodder for Edison's horse without his father's permission. Seeing this, Edison felt a little embarrassed, but he took the fodder. He promised Batty that he would return all his money soon. After this, Batty went with Edison to the stable to get the fodder. On the way, they saw many horses running away in fear in a field. Then Batty went out and saw that the owner of the field was very nervous. The workers were hiding under a tank. It seemed as if they had seen a horrific scene. Then the owner of the field asked Batty to call the police immediately. Now Batty was about to go to his car and call the police when suddenly a blood-soaked man came to their window, due to which both of them screamed. Before they could come out of this shock, another black shadow started hovering over their heads. It was none other than Creeper, who had come to catch the workers hiding under the tank. When Buddy and Addison heard the sound of the tank turning over, they understood that the Creeper was behind them. They saw that the Creeper had left the workers. When Addison and Buddy looked there again, the Creeper had disappeared. Buddy immediately thought of starting the truck and leaving from there, but the truck was not starting. Then suddenly the Creeper came in front of them and closed his eyes and started feeling the fear present around him. The Creeper was more interested in Allison than Buddy. He suddenly flew towards Addison and started cleaning the blood from the window with his finger. Then he was smelling Addison's body, and soon he understood that Addison was his real prey. He screamed in joy, due to which even the glass of the window shattered. Then he broke the window in one stroke and dropped the truck and caught Addison. By the time Buddy realized what was happening, the Creeper had flown away with Addison. Then we see that the Creeper did not kill Addison, but threw him in the back of his truck and went on to the next victim. Then Addison saw Kirk. This was the same boy who was injured by the truck's knife in the beginning. Both of them were from a small town, so they recognized each other. Then they made a plan to escape before the Creeper returned. Kirk knew that the back door was already barricaded, so he decided to go out through the front door. But he did not know that the same danger was looming in the front seat as well. As soon as Kirk touched the handle, a spear came out at a high speed from the side and went straight through Kirk's head. Seeing this, Addison's blood dried up and she remained frozen there. On the other hand, in the field, Gillen was still trying to find out what happened to her son 23 years ago. She did not listen to Kenny's spirit and pulled out the Creeper's hand buried in the ground. When she placed her hand on the table, she saw that the hand was still moving. Then Gillen, nervous, slowly extended her hand towards him. Suddenly, the Creeper's hand grabbed Gillen's hand and blew it into the air. Gillen's eyes turned white and his body started twisting in a strange way. Meanwhile, Dan and David, along with their team, were preparing to catch the Creeper. Just then, team member Michael arrived there on his modified truck. He had a powerful gun which could fire 6,000 rounds in 1 minute. Michael was sure that he would be able to destroy the Creeper with this weapon. Well, as soon as the team gathered, they started looking for the Creeper. On the other hand, when Gillen regained consciousness, she called Dan and David and invited them to her place. Actually, when Gillen touched the Creeper's hand, she saw the real story of the Creeper. She understood who this Creeper was and how it came in this form. But Gillen said that she cannot tell this truth to Dan and David, and they also did not put much pressure on Gillen. Now Dan himself wanted to know the secret of the Creeper, so he decided to touch the Creeper's hand. David tried a lot to stop him, but it was of no use. Suddenly the Creeper's hand grabbed his hand too, and Dan fainted at that very moment. His team immediately brought him down, and as soon as he fell on the ground, his eyes turned white and his body also started twisting in a strange way. After some time, when Dan regained consciousness, he was completely stunned. When David asked him what he saw, Dan remained completely silent. At the same time, Michael got the news of an overturned car on Highway 9, so he understood that this must be the work of the Creeper. Hearing this, Dan decided to execute his plan to eliminate the Creeper. This time Michael was ahead and Dan and David went behind him to find the Creeper. Soon they saw the Creeper's truck on Highway 9. Then David fired at the truck's tires in anger, but the tires were bulletproof and his bullets bounced off the tires and hit their own vehicle. Then David fired at the truck, but the same thing happened there too. Now the creeper dropped a bomb in the truck towards them, but Dan saved himself by turning the vehicle just in time. But this bomb had a tracking system and it started coming towards them once again. Then David used his brain and fired at the bomb first, which caused it to explode on the way. Just then Michael came from the other side and was ready to kill the creeper with his special gun. Seeing this, Dan panicked and immediately told Michael on the radio not to fire because these bullets would hit the truck and hit them back. But Michael could not hear Dan's voice and attacked with his gun. What was feared happened and all the bullets hit them and Michael and his driver died on the spot. After this another bomb came towards Dan and David and this time they could not escape. Their car overturned in the explosion but luckily they survived. Soon the creeper came there with his truck and started to drive them by blowing the horn continuously. Now David came out with his rifle and got ready for the final fight with the creeper. Dan also came behind him and asked David to remain calm because if the creeper gets a hint of his fear then it would be impossible for him to survive today. Then Dan's eyes fell on Michael's truck and he himself decided to go and start that special gun. Here the creeper was slowly moving towards David with his axe. David fired a shot but the creeper stopped the shot with his axe. Now David stood up and fired another shot which blew off the creeper's hat. This filled the creeper with anger. Here David was about to fire the third shot when creeper attacked him with his dart which went straight into the tip of David's rifle. Now David was left with only a handgun for his defense. Creeper was about to finish off David with his powerful attack when Dan challenged Creeper while handling that special gun. This distracted Creeper but now the gun was jammed. Creeper now attacked Dan with his axe. He flapped his wings and flew in the air. Dan felt that brother is not going to survive now. But in that critical moment Dan used all his strength to fix the gun and aimed at the flying creeper. Bullets started raining and Dan riddled creeper. But even such big bullets had no effect on him and creeper pounced on him as soon as he got the chance. From a distance, David saw the creeper decapitate Dan with his axe, and David had no choice but to flee. As night fell, Gillen was certain the creeper was coming. She picked up her shotgun and prepared for the final battle. Suddenly, she saw a flash of headlights outside. Gillen thought it was the creeper, but when she opened the door, she found Big. Big told her that her granddaughter Addison had been taken by the creeper. Here, Addison, who was trapped in the cargo area of the truck, suddenly heard a noise outside and quickly hid under a white sheet. She started pretending to be dead, but the creeper removed the sheet as soon as it came and caught Addison. Now he was preparing to eat her. But as soon as the creeper turned to take the knife, Addison took the opportunity and retreated and hid. As soon as the creeper tried to catch Addison again, she cleverly activated the trap on the passenger seat. A sharp metal spear pierced the creeper's head. The creeper's scream was so terrible that even the surrounding trees shook. In this attack, one of his eyes was even gone. Seeing the opportunity, Addison freed herself and jumped out of the truck, escaping the trap. She quickly got up and disappeared into the darkness at full speed. The creeper tried hard to chase her, but he fell to the ground. It turned out that Dan had blown off one of his wings with his gun, but as soon as he got up, the creeper threw a dart at the fleeing Addison. But she fell down after hitting a rock, due to which the dart missed her by a few inches. Now filled with anger, the creeper picked up the knife attached to the rope. Due to having only one eye, he was having a lot of difficulty in aiming and the prey was now running away. The creeper threw the knife with all his might, but he missed. The target fell on Addison's jacket, due to which she fell on the ground. The creeper picked up his axe and started running towards Addison. Just as he was about to catch Addison, a truck coming from the front hit the creeper and saved her life. Addison got up and ran away without looking back. The creeper, who used to kill people by scaring them, was feeling helpless for the first time. He took out his anger on the truck driver and healed his injuries by killing him. The creeper then went to Addison's house to get his severed hand. He found a hand on the ground, which Gillen had left with an offering message. It read, "I know what you are." The creeper got so angry after reading this that he crushed the hand. He had only 23 days to hunt humans, and now very soon he will have to go for a 23-year sleep. So he decided to leave Addison for now and focus on a bigger target. Meanwhile, Addison, who survived with great difficulty, found Batty and her grandmother. In the end, Batty and Addison expressed their love by hugging each other. How did you like this weird horror movie? Do tell in the comments. See you in the next video.